Welcome to After Work Conversations with Manic and the Jerk. Today we have a particularly cool topic to talk about. What do you got on the agenda for us today?
Yeah, man. Today we're gonna, first before I jump into the topic, I want to just let y'all know this is the self-proclaimed, the flyest podcast out here. Self-proclaimed, but we are fly. We just want to throw that out there. Shout out to my parents for making that fabulous mistake in 1979. But yeah, going back to the topic, today we're gonna be talking about fear and shaming tactics and these relationship conversations because it's like of course we're tuned into like these YouTube conversations, been in them for a minute. But one of the things you'll kind of hear a lot of the times is like people, utilizing fear and shame tactics. They have that fearful mindset and stuff like that. So we kind of just wanted to break that down to a certain degree. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna ask you, what was that?
They cannot hide.
Oh,
they cannot hide from the smoke. They cannot
So
hide from the smoke.
I know you're going in. You have that energy with that intro, so I'm kind of scared, man. You want to take some minutes, do some jumping jacks, get it out your system before you go in, or you just want to
Yeah,
go
man.
straight into the question?
I'm fresh from work. Did my little meditation before I came on here to get my mind right, and we're going to be talking about one of my biggest pet peeves on the internet to date. It's fearful, weak men
Oh shit!
that pretend to be gurus and want to give other men, particularly young men, advice on life. And it's bad advice. It is filled with fear, shame, and the exact opposite of what most of these men proclaim to be. These are not alpha males. These are not leaders. These are people regurgitating talking points of another individual with bad results. It's like a cesspool. It's a cesspool of bad information. God, we're gonna today we're gonna talk about the fear and shaming tactics, man. This is the stuff that these type of dudes put on women, and
Okay, let me ask you the question because it's gonna lead into that. I know you want to vent. You going in, man. Let me ask you this question, and I'm gonna fall back on this one. I'm gonna let you shoot like a sniper on this one. All right, hold on. All right, so why do people use fear and shaming tactics? The floor is yours.
I mean, I said it already. It's because they're weak. So they use these fear and shaming tactics to make other people feel small. And it's the sense of power that they try to put in control over others by making people feel, afraid, small, like they're wrong. It's negativity, and that they like want to reinforce this ultimately bad behavior and just going in on people and with no empathy, no understanding, no real life experience. It's really a way to distract people from looking at them personally and seeing the insecurities that they hold. So it's a really unhealthy way for them to project onto others. Mic drop. Yeah. End quote. I don't know.
No, you're spot on, man. Because and that's what I caught on too when I'm like listening to people. Because at first, man, I'm trying to like break it down. I'm like, why the hell would you be scared and stuff like that? Are you like you said, you're preaching this fear to people, and then it's just like you said, it's just like you're saying you're a leader, but you're regurgitating somebody else's philosophy. And you don't know if they have game.
Beta.
Like really, yeah. Beta. Like even if they're successful with women. So it's just like, man, you're so empty that you have to emulate somebody else you know nothing about. You ain't validate their outcomes or nothing. And then also, like you said, it's just based on their insecurities, man, their limitations. Like when we talked about leadership and stuff like that, but they're like giving this terrible leadership style because, they got limitations with self. So it's just like they're trying to cover up and mask all these like, flaws and stuff. And then they also don't want to, I think nowadays women are, earning more money. They're going out there, they're getting more educated. So one of the things I always kind of hear is just like, well, they're masculine, they don't want to, they won't listen, they won't do this. And it's just like, no, they just won't listen to you. Because it's like, man, you don't have no game and stuff. And it's like, so if you're sitting there, you're scared of stuff and you're spitting all this fear, it's like, why the hell would anybody want to align and attach themselves to that weak shit? You know what I'm saying? Like you were saying. And it's just, they're not grasping it. And then, when they come in here, and then we're trying to tell them like, hey, man, you have a scarcity mindset. If you was really that guy and you was aligned and, everybody's going to tell you like, I had game and
oh yeah,
you would have an abundance mindset and you wouldn't be so fearful. You wouldn't be scared if your girl go out there and work,
get a job
in a office setting with other people. You wouldn't care. You'd be like, hey man, go out there, achieve, and it's gonna help out the household. So yeah, nah, you spot on, man. I was feeling your sentiment when you was going in. So what's your take on that scarcity mindset and the abundance mind versus the abundance mindset?
Oh man, that's one of my so I mean just in general, I think people understand what scarcity means, but if you don't, it's really looking at things as, from a very pessimistic perspective, as like the glass, half empty rather than half full. It's viewing life from a lens of, there's limitations. There's so much limitations to everything that you do. And, in reality, there are some limitations, but nowhere near as much as a weak individual who's pushing these fear and shaming tactics. Like, in this space, it's like a giant contradiction. A lot of guys say, "Oh, my woman can't work because I need to be the protector, provider, and provide provision, and I'm the leader, and she has to." And it's just like, okay, sir, it's 2023. How much money are you making to provide, protect, and be the leader? Oh, well, she should accept me if I make $40,000. Like, no.
Oh shit, 40,000.
No, sir. That is not a livable wage in a lot of places to, provide for an entire family. So it's not. I'm not trying to like shit on anybody's like occupation or existence, but you have to be realistic. If you want somebody to solely rely on you for everything, you have to provide a level of, a level of what they would want, and that's just the matter. So a lot of women don't want to live on a $40,000 budget for an entire family household. What happens when you have kids? What happens when they have events? Not to say that it's not possible, because there's plenty people in America doing it. But you have to be realistic. Why would a woman want to accept that when she could just go to school, make her own $40,000, only covering her, find you making $40,000, and now you guys can combine with a household income of $80,000, and then you guys can, do some of the things and, not necessarily live in that same level of, financial limitations, since y'all love limitations with that fear. So a lot of it, man, is just, it's like I said, the insecurities of weak men who are not actually getting the results in real life. So instead of manning up and working on themselves, they come on the internet and project on all the women that have ever rejected them, and they project it on this one woman in their head, this fictitious woman, and say, women do this, women do that, women are like this, women are like that. And it's just like, clearly, we can all tell you do not have good relations with women, because if you had better relations with women, you wouldn't be operating from this fearful, shameful tactic. You would just understand that, hey, some women are bad, some women are good. Some men are bad, some men are good. But generally, what do you do if you're a guy and there's a lot of men who are bad? You remove yourself from them. So why can't you use the same philosophy when you're dealing with women? If you know certain women have qualities that you don't want, why don't you just not pay attention to them? Why don't you just go after the ones that are, that do have the qualities? And I'll tell you why, because you're thinking about it. It's because you can't get them. You cannot get them. You are not the man that they would want to be with. So you think you can come to the internet with fearful shaming tactics to dumb these women down to your level to accept wherever you are. And I'm here to tell you that in life, it doesn't work like that. You are only in control of yourself. So spend less time focusing on what everybody else is doing and more time focusing on yourself. And I promise you, you'll change that scarcity mindset into an abundance mindset. I'll pass it to you. I'm done. I'm done on my rant.
Oh, you done on that one?
I'm done.
No. Just going back to the finance portion. And this is the funny thing, because like you said, a lot of people, they slap labels on themselves, when they're doing this whole fear and shaming stuff, hey, I'm alpha, this and this. And like you were kind of mentioning with the limitations, like alphas are not scared of excelling and pushing themselves to them higher limits and stuff like that. You're not scared of growth. You know what I'm saying? You're not scared of walking away from stuff. Like you said, if there's a pool of, say there's only like, because, they love giving stats and shit. They'll be like, oh, there's only like 30% of like good women in the United States. Well, why aren't you in a position to get that 30%? And like you kind of hit on it, is because like, hey, you're thinking so small. Like you said, you're trying to shame somebody down to this like broke shit. That's what it is. Like, hey, they should fall under what I make. Like you said, 40,000. No, level up. Like, so it's just like you said, they're so fixated on that one specific woman, and a lot of times it's like a hood chick, which like definitely exposes like what they put themselves in alignment with. So it's just like they're fixated on that because they had that point of rejection. So instead of like the rest of us guys that kind of moved on from it, it's like, hey man, rejection is part of the game. Everybody's not gonna like me, but hey, somebody's gonna like me. That's that abundance mindset. They're still stuck on that one female that like let them down, and they're brokenhearted. They'll try to like cover it up and make it seem like it ain't that, but they'll like even tell you in these conversations, a lot of these dudes like, hey, I was a former simp, man. I got my heart broke. It's like, man, get over your damn self, man up, move on, go get another chick, and stop crying about the shit, and stop. Like you said, it's like, as a man, it's like a rite of passage. I know growing up, this is like, hey, you got to go out here and you got to deal with adversity to build yourself up. So it's like a lot of these dudes, they don't want to go out there. It's like a laziness. They don't even want to be men no more. It's like, they don't, like you said, they don't want to go out here and compete. So it's like they're just like trying to pull these ladies down to their level and stuff like that, instead of like, hey, let me go out here and put that work in. And if I have that growth mindset and I'm putting myself in better, surroundings and situations, I'm going to get like better results and stuff like that. But it's just like you said, it's like when you got that laziness and you got that fear, you just stay stuck in the bad capacity, and you just want, that bad chick, that 9 or 10 to like come to your level. And it's like, that shit ain't going to happen. So, they're just sitting in that place of bitterness and just complaining instead of, getting offline, hitting that gym, applying for more jobs, or, getting their resume right, different things that can be building themselves up. They just sitting there just like whining and crying. So you think it's more like a competition issue that they fear also?
Yeah, for sure. With anything, the scarcity mindset, and that's what all fear and shaming tactic, dudes have, that kind of scarcity mindset. Because if they didn't have that scarcity mindset, they'd be operating in abundance, and abundance would let them know that, hey, I'm not focusing on these particular set of women because there's so many more that I could be focusing on. So let me just focus on myself, and eventually they'll come. Yeah, what was your question again? I just got lost.
No. You kind of covered it, because I got another one I wanted to ask you, kind of, because it was about the competition thing. But
okay, yeah, competition.
There was. Oh, you want to go ahead? You got
yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. No. Just real quick, competition. It's very different, in today's society, today's world. There's so much validation that and I say we as human nature, we get from these social media apps, whether it's like your Instagram, YouTube, Tinder, or LinkedIn. Like there's validation, Twitter, like TikTok, whatever, all of it. It's You get validation when you achieve something, when you accomplish something, and sometimes that accomplishment is a certain level of likes, or comments, or a video being shared, or people laughing at something that you created, that you made for like comedy or content, whatever it is, whatever the case may be. So there is a different level of competition when you see that woman that's attractive, and then you go to her page and you find out she has 3,000 likes on something. It's just like, yeah, that's likely three, maybe not 3,000 deuces. There's some women who support.
You got three chicks liking that post.
There's three women who support
That's
that.
one
So
of them
maybe
thirsty ass dudes, man.
2,997 dudes who when you have a scarcity mindset, you view those 2,997 likes as 2,997 views, or dudes that you're in competition with. And like when you have that scarcity mindset, you're just like, you're defeated. But it's just like the reality of the situation is they're not your competition. You know, you're not even their competition, because most of these women are not, taking a second glance at their DMs from a random dude. They just get too much of it. So I'm a big proponent into like actually talking to people and getting out there in real life, because she's definitely going to deny you on your social media apps, just because it's like she's dealing with probably hundreds of dudes in her DMs constantly if she's a very attractive woman. But if you were to catch her in the actual wild on the street or something like that, or at the gym, or at like a bar, she still may say no, and she still may reject you, but at least you have a chance because you are actually there in real life. And contrary to how most men think, a lot of men are actually very scared to cold approach a woman and let them know that they're interested. So if you just listen to women and what they say, they'll tell you constantly, "Oh, I go to some places, yeah, guys catcall me, guys holler at me, but you know, uh rarely do dudes walk up to me and like with the proper etiquette to like, gain my genuine attraction." And uh I think that's where men should spend less time on the shaming and fear, and focusing on how to make a great first impression when you actually have the opportunity to walk up to somebody you're interested in.
Yeah, no, and if y'all don't understand, he's spitting some game for y'all. Like you just can't. You got to get over the rejection. If you a guy, I don't give a damn if you on the cover of GQ magazines. Like Brad Pitt been rejected before, so you got to get over that shit. Like if you scared, and like you said, I do hear a lot of those interviews, and it was funny. I was listening to one the other day, and I forgot which actress it was, and she was just like talking. Somebody was like asking her questions, like, "Hey man, why are you still single and stuff?" She was like, "Nobody ever talks to me." So everybody's just going in their mind. They probably just like starstruck and scared, but it's just like, hey, somebody that approach her, man, probably will pull that, because at the end of the day, everybody's still human, regardless what status they got. Women do like to be approached. A lot of times they're not going to approach guys, so they're waiting for somebody to come up and talk to them. And like you said, it's like in person is the best thing, man. And it's just like, yeah, they might not give you the time of day back, but it's just like if you walk up with the right etiquette, you say something, you leave with grace, you can still have that conversation. And it might not just been that time out there, but you might come across that person again, like, hey, damn, I like really what they were saying and stuff. And they might like wave you down or something like that. Hey, you remember me type thing. So it's just like, yeah, you got to step out of that zone. But, oh, go ahead. I saw you about to say something.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, rejection is part of life. You don't get every job that you apply for. You don't get every, you know, anything in life that you try for. You don't make every single shot that you take in whatever sport that you're playing. So it's just a part of life. Dating is no different. And I know it can hit a little hard because you mustered up the courage to put yourself out there on the limb only to be rejected. But you have to understand that It's really a ratio thing. So if you know you have like the worst social interactions in the world, if you talk to 100 women, even with bad social interactions, there might be a woman who picks up on that and it's like, you know what, this is so cute that he is actually trying. I'm going to entertain this. And, she might give you some sympathy, like, here's my number, and then grow to understand who you actually are as an individual. And then you might win there, but you might be 1%, you might have a 1% chance at, at, at an acceptance of something. And, just by the shots that you take, you talk to 100 women, you might get one, you
You
know.
said some sympathy buns.
Yeah, I mean, sympathy buns are real, and some of you guys, y'all need to get those.
Yeah, like 1% is better than zero. Shit, you ain't getting
Yes.
nothing. Not saying nothing, anything at all. But now, one thing I did wanted to ask you, because you was talking about it before, where you were just saying, hey, a lot of these guys, they like sit behind these labels and stuff, and they're echoing other people's points, but they don't never like to, I'll say, talk about any outcomes or achievements that they might have.
Oh
So why do
yeah.
you think that is?
It's quite obvious. It's they don't have the outcomes. They don't have the results in real life. So, what I've noticed, especially on the internet, is anybody can come up here and what's it called? Transform, or
Yes.
recreate. Yeah, recreate who they are. Like nobody's gonna do any. You can just hear it in the way people talk. Like if you're dealing with somebody who claims to be a business guru online, and then you listen to their content, and you're just like, okay, these are some good business tactics. It's like, but this is also Google. So, or I've heard this before. There's a lot of people just regurgitating, already known information and just, putting it back out there. But when you can actually get a chance and the opportunity to talk to people and kind of pick their brain and find out their mindset and why they are the way they are, you start to, you start to uncover like who they actually are and like what led them to be on this path, and what's their history, what's their background. And I've just seen so many people that I personally know just like embellish so much on the internet. It's just like it's almost sickening, but it's just what people do. It's like the old fake it till you make it um,
Hey
mindset.
man, don't
But
be bust me out like that, man. Shit.
there's
Nah,
a
but
lot of people. I was just gonna
okay.
say there's a lot of people who pretend to be something that they're completely not, and they don't have those actual results in life. And they see this platform, this YouTube, this internet, this TikTok, as a way to make money and monetize other people's information. Uh, um, and I mean, they have the time, you know.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Because I wanted to ask you that because like when I heard you say it, I wanted you to elaborate on that. But I also think it's like I was telling somebody, it's like, man, back in the day they had the like 7 minute workout, then they had the six, the five. It went down to like damn near 30 seconds. Everybody's trying to put it out, and people want to take the shortcut sometimes. But it's just like I know we were talking about the leadership post that we had, and it's just like I think people tend to forget as guys. It's just like, man, you can't slap a label on yourself, and it's just like becoming like those top men, whatever you want to call it, this label or something like that. It's like, man, it's a rite of passage, man, and you got to
Got to
go through
work for
that
that.
growth process, because it's
Max.
just like you just can't take no shortcut. And it's like a lot of these guys, oh, I'm the alpha, I'm this, and this. And it's just like you said, it's like if you don't step off like the internet and you don't actually go out there and try to achieve stuff, man, then this is why you're in that socially awkward phase. This is why you're having, terrible results. And you got to resort to these like tactics that, even women could spot them now. Like women are starting to give a pushback, like, hey, you guys sound scared. Like, I'm not fucking with you guys. So it's just like, when you build yourself up the right way, you build emotional intelligence. You're not on here screaming at chicks because they disagree with you. You just don't have those type of interactions. Because, a lot of times they're like, it turns into the whole internet accountability thing. Like, oh, you don't do this, you don't do this. It's like you said, if you have an abundance mindset, you're just not in an uproar. You're not bitter about stuff. you don't care what somebody, if a chick doesn't agree with you online and stuff like that, because you're like, hey, I got people that align with me in real life. Like, I don't need to like fly out the hinges on the internet and stuff like that. I don't need to like have these cyber people align with me and stuff like that. You got a life in actual real life, so it's just like conversation online with you. So you don't take it too serious. So definitely seen a lot of that type of stuff playing out.
Yeah, no, that's funny.
So now,
What happened?
I said your mic's coming in. Oh, you're good now.
Yeah.
So did you want to jump in on that, or you want to go ahead and start closing it down?
Yeah, we can close it down. I'll just say, with the whole fear and shaming tactics, I see it a lot of times. Just in the space that I'm in, the type of videos that I watch, I see it a lot with men, pushing fear and shame, on women. And I'm here to tell men and women, or specifically men, uh, women are not the enemy, because at the end of the day, we all know you would love to be around them, especially the ones who do the fear and shaming, like, oh, a woman should be this. These women are not submissive. These are the exact guys that would love to be around women and in the presence of women all the time, but they can't. And it's because, the stance that they take is just unrealistic. I definitely think there's delusional people and there's delusional men and delusional women, but uh to just focus on the delusional side of things, it just really shows what type of person you are. And women are not the enemy. Find who aligns with you and you're good. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, just to kind of double back on what you said, it, it's like you said, it's just like, man, get off this internet, have some conversations, but leave it as a conversation. Stop projecting like your past rejections on everybody else. Build yourself up. And it's just like throughout that process, man, you're going to start getting that confidence. You're going to get better at approaching women and stuff like that. And you're just going to have a better like interaction just with anybody and stuff like that, instead of, harboring that bitterness and stuff. So, I totally agree with you, man. It's just, it's sometimes sad watching this stuff. This is like you said, it's like, man, you're kind of like low key sabotaging yourself by having these stupid ass talking points that somebody else came up with that makes no sense, that you're not even gonna get yourself, because a lot of them are like, well, this high value male, he's gonna do this, and it's like, are you high value? Well, no, I'm gonna get there one day. Like, man, shut up. How you gonna be talking about some stuff that you ain't even like hit those achievements yet? It is just like, man, ain't nobody aligning with that. Nobody's gonna allow you to do like all this dumb stuff. So trying to shame people into that category, it's like either you can do it or you can't. So if you can't get it, you might as well drop it and focus on something else and stuff. And like you said, find that pool of people that align with you, because it's like everybody want to try to conform somebody to align with them, and it's just like, man, that's too much time, effort. Yeah. They're gonna have resentment for you trying to change them. So it's just like, man, you was capable of getting like the top tier ones that you want, you will have it. If you don't, then that's when you need to start, like you said, getting rid of that delusion and be realistic with yourself.
And we're not talking about the people who actually have valid points. Like, you know, um, the people that I'm targeting are the people who specifically use fear and shaming. Like, oh, this has to be like this because you're this. If you're not, very judgmental people. That's the people I have a problem with. You know, there's some content creators that point out the facts, and it's good information. Yeah, some people don't have a reality, and or they don't have an awareness, and there's nothing wrong with pointing out the truth and putting it out there. But when you constantly harp on fear and shame, it's just a terrible approach to go. And there's so many balanced guys out there that are doing like good work in this space, educating women on how men think, and women educating men how women think. There's so many good people that we don't need your fear and shaming tactics to just convolute the information. It's like, let the people who are doing good and who are projecting a positive message on growth, let them cook. Stay out of the kitchen. We don't need the fear and shaming, because men We don't do that. That's
I
some weak
totally
shit.
agree, man. Sometimes people need to be spectators. Everybody don't need to be the chief, like you said. But that's a good, wise thing to say. Seek out people that got the results and the outcomes, and you can hear the real ones. Like, man, like anybody that really doesn't have a fear-based mindset, man, they're gonna give you balance on both sides. They're gonna call it out on both sides and stuff. And it's not overly judgmental. It's like, hey, here's what I see wrong. You asked me this question. I'm gonna give you a breakdown, but also it's not gonna be like, oh, you should have done this. It's like, nah, hey, here's an approach you could take. Hey, either you leave it at that point, So that's why I see a lot of people that have effective communication and also have those results. They're gonna give you like a solution-based type of answer. It's not gonna be judgmental. It's not gonna try to shame you into any position. It's like, hey, you want to improve? Here's my point that I'll give you, and you can take it or leave it type thing. So yeah, I think people just gotta more or less get to that type of space, and like you said, stop trying to push your dumbass ideas and stuff on others, especially like if people are kind of outperforming you. It's like, why the hell would we like take a step back and start implementing your like dumb tactics and stuff like that? So all right, man, you want to close it out or anything else to say? You was kind of going in today, man. You might
That's it. After work conversations with Manic and the Jerk. I'm out.
All right. Y'all take care. Hit that Cash App. Hit the like button. Stay tuned.
And subscribe.
All right. Bye.